take a plane to another plane, to another plane, to another plane, bumping Baka not nice while I'm trapping in the rain.
Yeah, what up? This is episode number 27 of Ezza Trips Balls. I'm here with somebody who thought this was episode 8 or 9 of Ezza Trips Balls, but that's okay. You know, we're just getting off the ground here. It's my man, the myth, the local legend, the DJ, the turntablist, the motherfucking juggler of the wheels of steels, the ones and twos. It's ill table manners in the building.
What's up, man? What's up? It's good.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Not bad.
Everything
good. Life is good.
Life's good. We just shot a music video yesterday, so we're riding off that high, and we say, fuck it, let's do a podcast as well, because we're back in the game here at Ezza Trips Balls. Pop filter's a little wonky, but
we'll get it going.
any technical difficulties. So we just shot a music video for Lemonade Renegade, which was a single we dropped in April. Since then, both of us have dropped albums. My album Just Before Dawn came out at the end of July, and ITM's Ill Prepared came out, mid-August?
About mid-August, and then right about the same time we did the video for Get Some as well. Ill Prepared was taking a little bit longer than expected just because of art and stuff like that and a couple other things, but it all turned out in the end.
Distribution's a bitch, man.
Yeah, just sometimes, there's miscommunications and stuff like that, or things just don't always fall through the way you'd like to, right? So
yeah,
it just causes, and also some of the artists were causing delays because sometimes you're waiting on one verse for it's 3-4 people or 3 people on a song, right? And we had the song ready, but we didn't have the one guy's verse recorded because he moved out east. Just things happen, right? So
things happen, but it's finally out. It finally came together. It finally came out.
Years.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about that. We decided it was the perfect time to shoot a video for one of our singles. We could kind of promote both of our albums since we dropped singles together earlier this year.
Yeah.
Lemonade Renegade, Nacho Cheese Prophecy dropped together as a little duet single, and then so both of us dropped albums. So this video, Lemonade Renegade, we just shot yesterday, will be coming soon. That kind of will segue people hopefully into checking out both of our other bodies of work. So
yes, of course.
Let's talk a little bit about Ill Prepared. So Ill Prepared has been being prepared for quite a while.
Yeah,
it's been an ill preparation. I remember, I first started coming around and hanging out with you a little more often after Chuck 90s passed. Rest in peace, Chuck 90s.
Rest in peace.
He always made an effort to keep in contact with you, so I started coming around a little bit more after he passed. And you were working on this album right from back then.
Yeah. Well, the one song on there, Mind's Eye, with Acemore, that's all mixed and engineered by Chuck, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
So some of Chuck's work lives on Ill Prepared.
Yeah. Like we had him on the first CD rapping, right? And I knew the first time he came in the studio, man, and just I saw him mixing and stuff like that. I was like, there's some stuff I can learn from this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I like to put myself around people like that, people I can learn from, bounce ideas off of, just basically another artist, right? Sometimes just having someone there to bounce an idea off of rather than just sitting there talking to yourself. Sometimes it's a lot easier to get ideas and stuff like that, right?
Well, that's really where our relationship comes from. Is we just came, a lot of ideas came from conversations. Like people, I listed ITM as the executive producer on my In Lit album because that album kind of started as a conversation that I was having with him. I'm like, I want to call something In Lit. You know what I mean? Because it's like enlightened and lit at the same time. And then we started making some songs, and he had some beats, and then that whole project just turned into something else, but it stayed in Lit. So he got the executive producer credit because that always came from our idea.
I remember that day specifically because you had that thing up on your wall with the Buddhist hand or whatever.
Yeah,
and I was pointing out the airwaves that are flowing around it. One was kind of I think going up and one going down. The duality and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Anyways, that was.
We've had a lot of great conversations.
Cool that it was amazing.
It's a great thing when artists get together and art ends up being spawned from that, So Ill Prepared was being put together pretty much that whole time.
Yeah.
So the last one was Elbows on the Table.
Elbows on the Table, yeah.
And what year did that drop?
2014. No, I think it was 2013, but at the very end of the year on my birthday. Usually I would throw like the CD releases on my birthday, right? Just so then everybody, just as I don't have to pay fucking for booze at a bar anyways, right? and most people like sometimes in St. Catharines are cheap, so it's like, well, rather than them have to pay to get in somewhere and pay $5 a drink, I'll just have everybody over my place. You can spend $15 getting a 6-pack and just bring it over and we'll fucking or get it like a keg or something.
Why not, right?
So and it's just usually more relaxed too, right? Sorry, I forgot what.
Yeah, so that was the last project.
Yeah, that was on the table. And then Ill Prepared, it kind of came to me. I was DJing the show for Talib Kweli.
Oh, yeah.
In Toronto, the Rock Pile. And I remember the night because I forgot one of my chords. And I was like, shit. I was like, I guess you could say I came ill prepared, like joking around with the sound guy, right? And I was like, that's actually pretty smart. And I was like, because originally the idea on the cover, I wanted to have like me in a chef outfit cutting up like wave samples, right? Because it was like me preparing everything. Because right, I'm ill and I prepared the CD, right? But it's also kind of ill prepared in the sense that I was kind of ill prepared for a lot of things that happened in my life. You know what I mean? Like through all the ups and downs, everything. Also, like that's also kind of why the CD took so long, right? Because sometimes you never know what life is going to throw at you, right? Like if you have a child, obviously you got to focus on that. If you got like other things going on, sometimes you have to focus on that and put other things on hold, especially when it seems like certain things are just on hold because of other people as well, right? So unfortunately, as a collaboration artist like myself, that's all production and scratching, sometimes you're waiting on certain artists, right? You don't know how long you're going to get a turnover. Some artists, you can only get like 4 or 5 songs out of a year, right? Whereas other guys, they can bang out like 4 or 5 songs for me in like 5-6 months, right? Depending on how hard their drive is, right? And it just seems as if the more and more guys I work with, that they give me faster turnovers, right? As long as it's good work, it's usually a better relationship and easier to work with, right? But that's why the CD took so long. And I've already got the third one planned called Mentally Ill.
Oh, nice.
One. And I have the cover art idea. I'm just trying to find the right artist to help capture my idea.
Because, you know, at ITM.
Just shout out like Lucrative Site Visuals and stuff like that. I love his stuff. And Arsenal did the first one. Great artwork from Arsenal Beach Chef as well. I'm looking, I think, for this one, a third guy. I'm trying to think of someone who's maybe a little bit more, less on the graphic design side, more on the artistic side.
Okay.
Maybe have them collaborate with the graphic designer.
All right.
To make something a little bit more elaborate this time. Right?
Mentally Ill. And so you go in the same direction. The first 2 projects kind of had, this is your format for producing an album, which I love. Is one of the things that I love about you is that you're not just a guy who DJs or makes beats. You make bodies of work. And on these bodies of work, you enlist some of your favorite local talents around you to hop on your beats, but you're kind of handpicking the collaboration. So it's almost like, you know, you look at somebody like DJ Khaled who's so successful. Yeah. You're like DJ Khaled if DJ Khaled also produced all the beats and did fucking scratches on top of it as well. Right? Yeah. So you're not only curating who's on what beat, but you've also made the beat and you're doing little interludes and stuff like that and scratching up some voice clips. I really love the format that you go for on your projects. And I'm assuming Mentally Ill, you're planning on keeping that same kind of format. So it'll be like a trilogy?
Yes, that's pretty much what I was going for.
Nice.
It's exactly a trilogy. I was debating on hopefully maybe moving on to something with like a specific artist after that. You know what I mean? Because I've never really done like a full project just with one artist.
Yeah.
Like Spitters Union, I didn't ever do their first CD, right? We never finished a full CD on our own. Other artists, whatever, I've never completed, I think, a full CD just with one artist. And I think it would just be more interesting to possibly get like a one-on-one interaction with one artist where we can put together a live performance, the CD and everything. Like there's like guys that I performed with like hundreds of times, right? And we're just amazing at performing live, but we didn't really ever record a full project together, right?
Have like a body of work.
Yeah, like and I kind of got the idea for the collaboration CDs from like other DJs, like Sway and Tech, This or That,
right?
DJ Revolution. Now they didn't all make the beats and everything, but it's a like 27 track CD where it goes from like Chill Rob to like Wu-Tang to like, you know what I mean, all these different artists and some of them. And I just thought it was very unique because you're not listening to the same rapper throughout the whole CD, you know? It's every like 2 or 3 songs you'll hear the same guy, right? So it kind of gives diversity where if someone doesn't like this guy or his voice, it always gives them opportunities to skip the song. And also with the variety in my beat style, I find that it kind of gives a little bit for someone, a little bit for everyone, right?
No,
a little bit of something for everyone. Sorry.
Yeah, you listen through your projects and it's like listening to a really fire radio station that plays dope underground hip hop. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the vibe that you get. You got kind of different sounds on there, but all, you know, kind of underground. You know, you're getting a lot of good lyrical like heavyweights on there. And yeah, it turns out really
some
good.
Really good bopping songs. Like you heard the song you did, the Triceratops.
Yeah.
Tricycle, man. It's got like that just like really chill, like riding your car, like almost like a West Coast style.
Yeah, it's got all different styles, right? So speaking of West Coast style, like, you know, your format also in a way kind of reminds me of like the Dr. Dre albums, except of course you're not also rapping on the song. But if you took Dr. Dre off rapping on his own songs, essentially you'd have a bunch of songs produced by Dr. Dre with a bunch of Dr. Dre's favorite rappers.
Right. Like
so it's almost
2001 has so many different guys on it, right?
Yeah,
like Eminem, Exhibit. You know, you think Chino XL was on? No, I don't think.
I don't know if Chino was on there. He might have been.
Dog, you know,
yeah,
there's a long
Devin the Dude,
Nate
fucking a lot of people. Daz and Corrupt.
Well, you know what? Especially back then, I think it was a little bit easier, but also like you have to be networking, you know, at all times, you know, because you'd hope that if we're working on a song together, I hope you'd want to promote the song too. Because I'm making it with you. I hope you'd want to support me because that's the whole point of music. And that's kind of like the idea of the collaboration. Usually I'm getting raps from you for free, but I'm giving you a beat for free. Yeah. Right? I'm putting you on a CD and promoting you on the CD for free. I hope you would want to promote your song on the CD. Exactly. Right? So we're both getting something for free. We're both getting cross-marketing. Yeah. And I mean, we both make out of it at least with something. And I'm also putting in the time for the mixing and engineering. Yeah.
And we're collaborating.
I love doing that. That's like my fun though, right? Yeah. Sitting there for a couple hours and just tweaking every little thing, you know what I mean?
And I mean, on our 2 songs, that's what we did as well, because we both mix and engineer. So like we're sending them back and forth, like, oh, could you turn up the scratches a little bit? So it was fun, right? So it's like on top of all those other benefits you just mentioned, it can also be a good fucking time to, to end up with a final product that both people are proud of. I think that a lot of the sort of competitiveness and like, well, you didn't pay me for that and all that is sort of like stifled the production of a lot of great potential art that could have come out of the local scene that didn't end up happening, right?
A lot of guys, they claim like, you know, they know what they're doing and they just want you to give them your money, you know what I mean? And they're just like, oh, I know how to mix and engineer or do this, right? I'm not going to say I'm the most amazing engineer, but I can do a basic mix for you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can definitely make it sound pretty regular, you know, unless like you got really raspy voice or something like Duraska.
Shouts out to Duraska.
I'm just kidding. But it's there's a lot of people out there that are definitely stifling the industry by also I've noticed with the beat makers and stuff, they download and pay for those loops off the internet and then they just throw a bunch of loops together and then resell them to people. Like on the internet, a lot of people are doing, like, I didn't realize this, but like, so some of those loops, I guess, aren't copyright free or whatever, right? But apparently it doesn't matter to them if they sell you the beat for $50 or whatever. It's up to you to copyright it.
Yeah, right? Pretty much, yeah.
And I guess, that's also why some of these guys can afford to just give away beats for nothing, you know. And also, you can kind of notice in the production, it's very loopy. Well, even like rappers, man, like some guys like want so much for verses, but it's like we're really like, how is you being on my CD going to benefit me that much where I need to pay you?
It's insane. You know? It should be a collaborative effort, you know.
If you look like artists like Atmosphere, man, like how many features did he have on his first couple of CDs? Like 2 features on like a whole CD, right? Yeah. You kind of got to like. Unfortunately, I can't do this. I'm not a rapper. Kind of like for rappers like you, and you did do it. Like pretty much most of your projects, it's all just you, right? You have to be able to make it on your own as a good artist.
Absolutely.
And be able to make a stand on your own before you can start featuring other people.
As great Nasir Jones said, "My first album had no famous guest appearances. The outcome I'm crowned the best lyricist.
Yeah.
You know, it's real talk, man. You got to
Yeah.
hold your own out here, man. You got to hold your own. So what was Eureka? Eureka's not part of the trilogy.
No.
You're considering Ill Prepared to be your second album.
Yes,
right?
because
I've heard you say that. So what was Eureka?
Eureka was kind of, I was so tired of trying to get something recorded with artists or getting a finished project that I decided that I'm just going to release. And unfortunately, I didn't do scratching on that one, which I wish I would have, but I was still learning a lot about mixing and engineering at that point.
Right.
So basically, someone coined the term an audio hip-hop-umentary. So it's like an audio documentary, but it's all with hip-hop.
An audio
right?
hip-hop
So because
documentary.
in the CD, they have like speeches from JFK doing like certain announcement speeches, or not Gandhi, but like for example, someone like Gandhi, or like Will Smith. There's an inspiring speech on the one, or there's like one that has like a movie reference. You know what I mean? It has a really inspiring speech and words to it. Well, it has still hip hop production. Not all of them were very hip hop production. Some of them were just like the one song. I think it was just like some bongos. Sorry, it was just some bongos with like some light violin and piano playing.
Right.
And then it just had like a speech over top of it, right? Just some kind of inspirational music that didn't have to be anything complex. And it was more just because I couldn't find artists to work with back then, right?
Right.
Even for scratching and turntablism in Niagara, I had my friend LJ and my buddy Emilio, but other than that, nobody scratched. It wasn't until like 2011 that I started doing, or sorry, 2010 when I did the battle in Toronto. That I actually started to meet a lot more turntablists up close and personal.
Right.
And like some of the after parties, right? You hang out with these guys, you learn a lot more from them and stuff like that. But yeah, Eureka it was his own project. It's I remember the CD release when you and Chuck came.
Yeah.
And I think Martin was there, and a couple other the Tune Gang guys. Yeah, it was something I wanted different, and I felt like there was definitely a turning tide in my life at that point. I feel like, you know what I mean, everything that happens for a reason sometimes.
Yes.
You know, sometimes that reason is because I'm stupid. You know what I mean? But like shit happens, man. But it's all about how you deal with it, right? But that CD was very, very emotional CD, but it was all just kind of, it was supposed to make you emotional. That's the point.
Yeah.
You know, I want music that makes you feel something. I don't need a CD of people bumping up their ego, talking about how big their egotistical penis is, or metaphorical penis is, and blah, blah, and da, 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 I'll do this to your mother, and blah, blah.
Yeah, we want to cut off the egotistical penis.
Yeah, man. Like, I think music is, because it's creative, it's supposed to be more about your soul, who you are, and a message. And like, just like anything else that makes you feel alive, change, right? Change to me is like another word for living. And the more like you're able to change and help people change in a positive way, right? Obviously.
Yes.
I believe, sorry, I lost track. I just see just like when I'm usually changing and evolving as a human being, I feel as if I'm always progressing. I'm always going in like a good direction.
Yeah. And
as long as that progression isn't something like selling drugs or something.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to, you have to, I suppose. But you don't want to certainly take any steps backward. But Eureka being what it was, I think kind of seemed to have laid the groundwork for what you ended up doing, right? Because that is true. That's kind of like you almost took that format and then was like, all right, let's add some rappers to this now, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of like how that, even though that was kind of an emotional, deep soul thing, it also helped you to be like, okay, this is kind of the foundation from which I could jump off into continuing to do this, but in a way that might be a little more like universally palatable with rappers on there, because people, like
some
rappers.
People didn't get it, right?
Exactly.
Some people were like, I love it. I think it was a great idea. Other people were like, where's all the rapping and scratching? Right? So I was like, yeah, I understand, right? So,
but you still sneak some of that
on the
shit.
Table, I think, had a lot of rapping and scratching. But there was a couple interludes here and there, but there wasn't that much. And on Ill Prepared, I actually put 2 or 3 full interludes on there. And I don't know, I just feel as if it came together better. It helped me tell the story a little bit better, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't always, like most CDs you listen to, There's especially good ones. There's always like interludes from song to song. Sometimes there'll be like a song and then a switch up of a beat, and it's all in the same track song, right?
Right.
So you don't really know sometimes where one song ended and one began, right?
They all
It's just
kind of
kind of like
flow.
an audio story, right? I'm trying to.
Well, I like how on the Autumn track, which I still absolutely love, and we can talk a little bit about that because I don't know how you came to even picking us three for that beat, because I think that was like,
That's off of Eureka.
Yeah, well, that's a stroke of genius on your part, right? To be like, okay, I want Jack Shit, Ezza, and Humble Hab to hop on this beat from Eureka, and I'm going to put that on Ill Prepared and keep kind of. Did you have the Bill Hicks?
The speeches and
So
they're all still
those
on
same
there.
speeches, which I love because they go so well with what we're talking about on the song, and it kind of almost takes up half of the runtime of the song, but like you don't even notice it as a listener. It just flows so nicely into that.
Yeah, and it's kind of the exact type of idea like I wanted, right? Because I also wanted to as I always wanted to revisit or try to make some of those Eureka songs work, right? With rappers on them. So I always thought it would be, because people were looking for beats. I was like, well, what about some of these ones? So I just sent him like Eureka songs, right? Some people were, well, I like that one. I was like, well, I can take out the words, we can add your raps, and then I can still put some of the speeches at the beginning and end,
right,
or in the middle or whatever, right? We can work with it and see what happens, right? All part of the creative process, and I just feel as if it turned out amazing. The artwork from Luke turned out really good too, with the leaves all over your guys' faces.
So good.
Excuse me. And the song all around came out amazing. I couldn't be more happy with all three of your verses. It was yours was very complex flow, but it was like such like a spiritual journey at the end of it.
Yes.
Yeah, especially at the end. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but like wishing you would try or something like that. And I don't know. The whole thing is very good, especially like your verse on Triceratops, the rhyme styles and everything. But back to Autumn, like Jack Shit and Humble Hab, I think both did really good jobs. And that was your first collaboration with them, isn't it?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, you kind of arranged this collaboration, and then the three of us got together at Freshly Squeezed Studios, and you weren't there. And we went to record this song for you. So you were on some boss shit, because you're just like, yeah, like I'm going to send this guy my beat, and then you three are going to meet at this studio and record your verses, and then he's going to send them back. And you're like, all right, shit, man, this is professional. So I'm like, I'm going to meet Jack Shit. I hadn't met Jack Shit at that point, so I'm like, I'm going to meet Jack Shit, Humble Hab. So yeah, the three of us hung out, and I had to actually write my verse that night. Like, I wrote my verse there. And they had already, I believe, written their verses. And I may not have, either way, Jack Shit seems to remember the story of me writing it on the spot. I feel like I must have written it beforehand, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, it was the first time getting together with those guys, and fucking we had a blast making that song. And then, it ends up coming out on this album. I mean, we dropped it as a single prior to the album, but ends up dropping on this album now, and like I listen to it, I'm like, fuck, this is a good fucking song. It's like you got the full 3 verses and a chorus structure there, but then it segues into this fucking awesome spiritual speech that relates to the verses that we dropped. And we kind of just were like, let's make it about falling. And all three of us kind of took like a weirdly like philosophical, spiritual approach to the subject matter, and then it tied in perfectly to the end. So it's like, man, what a beautiful fucking song that turned out being. And for like a 6-minute.
And I think it's like the falling is kind of like the symbolism of like constant decay. I mean, entropy, almost like entropy, right?
Yeah.
Like everything is in a constant state of decaying. No matter what you want to believe, eventually we're all going to fall, and we're all going to go. We're going to the next life or whatever you believe. Or
it's inevitable,
right? But yeah, like it's kind of like no matter what, there's going to be an end to the story. Your life is going to end at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why, like, no disrespect to anyone in their beliefs, but like sometimes like people that like believe in afterlife, right? It's because they don't want to maybe accept that there is an end to their life.
Right.
I'm not saying, or there's like people like KRS One that say, if you can still hear, see, with your eyes closed or whatever while you're dreaming, so you kind of prove the existence of the soul, he says. right? He's like, because you don't need your eyeballs to see, you don't need your ears to hear,
Right.
Because in your dreams, you're not actually using your eyes,
No.
right? You're not using your ears, but you can actually still see and hear everything, as if like your spirit is moving somewhere in like a different dimension or whatever.
Yeah, I had several dreams last night that I was in school and I had to do a test, and I hadn't studied for the test. I didn't know what I was doing. And like, when you're tripping hard on mushrooms or something, and you like try to read something, or like somebody hands you something like, yo, check this out. And you're like, what the I can't even read. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Right? And that's what it was like in the dream. Like the teacher, I'm in a classroom all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't remember this fucking class. I didn't study for this. What is this? What am I doing here? And the teacher's handing me a stack of papers. Like, here's your test. Everybody else in the classroom is fucking nose in the paper, writing answers down. You know that fucking feeling from school where like you don't know the answer, but everybody else is like fucking nailing it, right? And so I'm looking around, and everybody else is focused, and I'm fucking just going through these pages, and I can see that there's words on them, but I can't comprehend anything. And I'm like, am I high? Like, am I tripping? I couldn't figure out that I was in a dream, And then it kept changing. It was like my grade 7 teacher, and then it was my grade 10 teacher, and then it was a teacher. But I wasn't putting together that it was a dream. I just thought I was tripping balls, and then eventually I woke up and it was a dream. So I hope KRS-One's right, because I'd like there to be somewhere else I'm going. I think it's some sort of parallel dimension or something.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of unanswered questions out there where I wouldn't go jumping the gun believing there isn't an afterlife.
Yeah, I think you'd be silly to think
Yeah, exactly my point. Like, that's why I don't really like religions. They try to tell you what there is an hour. They try to explain and tell you this is how it is afterlife.
And it's like, no.
I was like, well, how do you know? You're just another human being.
I think the whole point is we don't know. None of us know.
Yeah, none of us know, right? And that's kind of like the unique experience, is that death is just like another adventure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you have none of us. That's probably the biggest adventure of life.
It is.
At the end of your life, because that's when you get to see what the hell is going on. I don't know what's going on.
Isn't that crazy to think about? I think, so these are the conversations that ITM and I have. And my favorite conversation we've ever had is probably the shortest conversation we've ever had, which if we eventually, we both want to do a whole album, what he just said, do a whole project with all his beats and me rapping. And we're going to call it Practicing Spontaneity. If it ever happens, and it will, spontaneously at some point. Because one of the best conversations we ever had is we fucking get together, we start smoking a joint, and fucking Dan goes, so, I've been practicing spontaneity lately. And I was like,
I don't think that's even possible.
Like, you can't practice spontaneity, man. And then we both just burst out laughing because we understood how, like,
well, you technically can, though, right? Every single opportunity you have in like a moment to be spontaneous in your action, if you do it over a repeated course of time,
you're building that muscle.
Being spontaneous. Practicing spontaneity, right?
But it's just such an oxymoron at the same time. So it's going to be the album, we haven't started making it yet, but it's going to be a great fucking album. Let me tell you that.
I think it'll be amazing.
If you don't believe it, go and listen to our current collaborations that are on Spotify: Lemonade Renegade, Nacho Cheese Prophecy, Autumn, and Triceratops Tricycle. You've been on the 905 local scene for a very long time. Like, I remember, we were just coming up, starting to rap and starting to investigate who's making music in Niagara, and all the same names came up: Arsenal, the Beat Chef, Mufik, Ill Table Manners, Produce,
Acres, rest in peace.
Acres, rest in peace. A. Drew, Sazy, obviously. All these names. Not everybody is still going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To some degree, people drop a project here, there, whatever. It's very inspiring for me to still see you dropping albums, still see Sazy dropping albums. And actually getting some reception. And again, shouts out to everybody else who's still doing their thing in one form or another. It's not to discredit anything you're doing, but from my perspective of coming up on the scene, a lot of the people that I used to think were going to be big rappers aren't doing it anymore, or producers or whatever it is,
and
right?
all these guys you thought were amazing artists. And I just don't understand why you ever stop if it's something you like doing, right? Like if you like going to the gym and lifting weights, that's what you like to do. If you like to make music, that's what you like to do. People that usually give up on it or stop doing it, they didn't really enjoy doing it in the first place. They probably did it just to be cool around their friends.
Exactly.
It sucks because like some of these people are very talented people.
Yes.
Right? And if they would have continued, it just wasn't, I guess, deep down inside for them. They would have rather watch hockey and I don't know. I don't really know what people do other than
watch hockey and watch UFC.
I always feel out of place in those conversations because I don't really watch. Like I like to play sports. You know what I mean? I like to go to the gym and stuff like that, but I don't like to watch sports. I just don't get it, right? But that's why I feel as if artists that have stuck with it, those are the real artists, man. Like Stacey, yeah, you know what I mean? He's got definitely like the new school style of that sound that everyone likes. But he's been putting out, I don't even know how many albums now.
And he's always
he's probably
adapting.
put out as many albums as he is old, right?
Oh, yeah, he's steady, man. He's steady.
Yeah,
that's somebody who really loves what he does.
Someone that, yeah, he loves what he obviously does. He's good at it. You know what I mean? He's got a system set up with engineers, right? Yeah. It's a good method for him. And that's what I've been trying to do over the years. It's hard to find consistent rappers or consistent people with musicians in general. Sometimes aren't very consistent.
They can be flaky people, yeah.
Yes, and it makes it difficult sometimes to get a hold of people. You know, some people, I got life problems that I can't predict, you know, like I try to be there for everyone, you know, but some people I don't know. I don't know what to say other than they got other priorities, you know, and if they don't have time to kind of progress their art on their own, then you can't really expect other people to keep pushing it on you. That's why I think with Mentally Ill, I'm just going to kind of put a few more artists to rest. I'm not going to continue bugging people and trying to act like a mom trying to make you do your homework.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It shouldn't be a chore to do a verse if you're
I shouldn't have to like act like your mom to get you to like write a song for me, man. Like, come on, man. Like, this is it's 2020. Act accordingly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Are you gonna act like a friggin' like? And some of these guys are like my age and only a few years younger, man. Like, if you're at that age and if you don't really want to do it, just don't do it, man.
Yeah, or don't say that you're gonna do it, or you know.
Yeah, I just wish some of these guys would have been told not to do it earlier on, than to stop wasting everything. No, I'm just joking. I believe everyone, even if you're not that good of an artist, man, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? When I first started making music, it was for myself, man. Like, and even now, I make it for myself.
And hey, if you discover that you like doing it, you're probably eventually gonna get good at it.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you discover you like doing it and you keep doing it, eventually you're going to get better. You know what I mean? But if you don't like it enough to push through that, you're never going to know.
Yeah, and I definitely see, like, on your projects, you know what I mean, the progression. You can see, like, you get better and better each time, you know. I've only had a few projects to do that over, but I've got little bits of progression. Definitely with the mixing and engineering, I've gotten a lot better. I know on Ill Prepare, there's like 7 different engineers probably on there. Just because a lot of the songs are getting like written and recorded out in Vancouver. Some of them are written and recorded in PEI. Some of them are, you know what I mean,
all across the damn country.
Yeah, right. So you don't really know where you're getting the audio files from sometimes and stuff like that. So some of the mixes didn't turn out exactly how you want, but you know, it's just how things go sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard to make it cohesive.
And just make some new stuff and move on, right?
Yeah.
There'll always be tomorrow. There'll always be another day.
Never an end to music and art to make.
Yes.
So let's talk about turntablism, man, because it's you know, you don't see a whole lot of new turntablists popping up.
Especially in Canada.
And you know,
unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean there's probably more in like Europe. I mean, probably not even North America. You know what I mean? I'm sure the States. Is there a big scene in the States?
Oh yeah, the States. States is huge. If you win in the United States, the DMC, to represent that country, you're guaranteed basically first, second, or third in the world, because it's so hard to win in the United States and represent the United States that you're pretty much guaranteed first, second, or third when you go to the finals.
Right.
The world finals.
So that's where the art was invented, right?
Yeah, and like same thing with like the UK DJs, usually really high up there. France usually comes strong.
Yeah, so I was thinking it would be pretty big in Europe, right?
Yeah.
It's not US big.
Canada has come strong, like respect to DJ Shub, I think 2, maybe 3-time champion. DJ Dopey. DJ Dopey, I think, went to go all the way to the world to win it. I know A-Track did, right, when he was 17, which is huge. He was the youngest guy to ever win the world. You know what I mean?
And Canadian.
Yeah, I'm forgetting another Canadian champion right now. I feel Shub, Dopey, A-Track. I feel like Vecht.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Vecht is the new guy, and well, I think he's stopped now, but he's like 5-6-time champion or something.
Shit.
Right? Yeah, I actually battled him in 2012.
Really?
Yeah, but there was only like 3 guys that showed up for the battle, right? So there was nobody really there other than me, him, and one other guy. Scratch from the Roots was actually one of the judges.
Holy shit.
We had to drink with him afterwards, which was kind of fun. But yeah, Vecht is a powerhouse for Canada. He's probably one of the best turntablists to come out of Canada, that guy. And really cool that I got to battle him. I actually got to battle DJ Shub too.
Wow.
In 2010 at the Turntable Conference or whatever with DJ Grouch and I think Dopey were judging it. In the second round, I beat out some guy, Romeo, I think, in the first round. Second round was me and DJ Shub. And right away, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm not going to get to the third round for sure,
Lucky you.
Shub was also the judge of my first DJ battle as well. Him and K-Flip were 2 of the judges of my first scratch
Shout
battle.
out K-Flip.
Yeah, started with K-Flip, man, and I actually won that one. But yeah, man, the turntablism scene in Canada, there's less than like 25 guys that compete across Canada each year, right? So like some years, like the year in Montreal that I got second place, I think 2013 it was. Yeah, 2013. There's 7 guys. The maximum they can have is 8 in each city. So like Toronto will have 8 people, and Vancouver will have 8 people. That's if they can even find 8 people. Sometimes they cancel because if there's only going to be 3 people, they cancel it.
Wow.
Because they have first, second, and third for the prizes, right? And I think I've been to like the one I got third place for. I think there was only 5 or 6 guys there. The one I got second place for, there was 7 guys at the one in Montreal. There was a large list. We actually brought 2 competitors from Ontario, but yeah, there's not very many people doing it, and unfortunately, it feels like it's like dying in Canada. It feels like people, especially like the rappers, man, like that's. I wish more rappers would incorporate scratching into the music, right? Music gets very bland and boring if it's just one format style all the time. It's just not really exciting for me to listen to your new stuff when it sounds exactly made like your old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It sounds like I'm listening to the exact same CD over again almost, not to be disrespectful, but it's nice to maybe throw something else in there, live instruments, kind of like Kill Agains or something that with like guitars or whatever, or even like scratching or just something with live instrument other than just a rapper on a beat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Scratching just adds some flavor, man, and it's a ode to the culture, to the lineage of the music, and that's why I was so happy to be able to do Lemonade Renegade and Not to Cheese Prophecy and have you scratch on those records.
Because I didn't do any scratching on our other songs.
It was the first time that I got scratching on a fucking record, man. And that's another reason why I wanted to do the video so bad, because I'm like, hey, this is real hip hop here, man. I don't care. Motherfuckers around here want to put me in the new school category, the old school category. I am the gap bridger. That is my business. I'm in the business.
Universal style, man.
Yeah, man. I try to do a little bit of everything. So I'll hop on some ITM shit, and then I'll hop on, whoever wants to send me a beat.
Flow like water, you put Ezza into a cup, he flows into the cup. You put him into a kettle, he flows into the
kettle. Yeah, yeah. No, I love all hip hop, but I want to be able to make it all within reason. Like I don't try to venture too far out of what looks good on me or sounds good on me. I'm not a gangster rapper. Right? I do me still. But I like being able to incorporate that on as many different kinds of beats as possible, and I think that is something that that a lot of the new young guys would be eager to incorporate if they knew that people like you were around, and that's the other thing is like there seems to be a disconnect between the older heads and the new heads, because I think that there are a lot of new young hip hop heads who are interested in looking back into the lineage and back into the history. I think there is a bit of a renaissance beginning to emerge, and I think
I also feel there's like there's something that I think the UK DJs are kind of doing where they're incorporating a lot more of like the trap hip hop style of beats and stuff like that, but they're doing it with scratching, right?
Yeah.
Because like I tried like scratching over certain trap beats depending on the tempo. Sometimes it's a little difficult,
right?
Depending on like the type of style you're going for in the song, right? So you don't want to make like add scratching to a song that just doesn't sound right. But maybe like that would be like the new thing, right? Is like taking some of those new school styles, but still having like a lot of wild scratching on it. I think I know you could probably find some guys in the UK or in Europe, like probably C2C and stuff like that, that already do stuff like that. But in Canada, right, there's not a lot of guys out there that are maybe meshing some of the new styles with the old styles, right? And I just wish, like I said before, there's like me and like 2 other guys that even scratch in Niagara, man, you know? I used to throw like little Sunday scratch sessions at my old house.
Those are the shit.
And we called them Sunday scratch sessions, and I set up like a whole wall of like 3-4 turntables, 3 mixers. We should jam out like the invisible scratch pickles and shit, right? All 3 of us, one guy on like a drum, one guy on like a vocal, one guy on like a bass line. And it felt like we were a band, dude. It was like just like the invisible scratch pickles said when they first invented it. Yeah, and it was just, that was a really unique experience for me too, was being able to scratch in a band like that, man. And I just wish there was more guys that still did it, you know. I remember teaching my buddy Jeremy. Me and K-Flip had him over, and we started teaching him. I gave him all these DVDs and stuff. He ended up being a better scratcher than me after about a year.
Wow.
Yeah, man. This guy was like showing me how to do orbits and showing me how to do some scratches and stuff. So the guy that I was teaching with K-Flip and gave him spare gear and everything, the one crossfader I won at a battle, I had nothing to put in. So I was like, here, you take it, throw it in your mixer, right? Guy comes back, he's like, he wore out the fader and shit because he's practicing so much. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I'm always up for teaching people if people ever want to learn, right? If you have really the passion for it, right? If we're gonna come on by, I'll show you how to scratch, you know what I mean? We can jam out. So
and then it becomes a hobby of collecting records and shit like that too. Like K-Flip finds some fire. Like, he sold me a Space Ghost Perp vinyl for $20. I didn't know even existed. He's like, hey man, I found this in a crate that I got for like $50. I thought you might like it. It's got a $20 sticker on it. Oh, it's fucking sweet, man. Here you go. You know, so like you find some gems, and it's like if you're a music lover, you probably would love being a turntablist and scratching because you're meshing sound, you're fusing different sounds into a new sound. You know what I mean? Like, how could you not be interested in that?
Yeah, and it's not like just the basics of scratching without all the rest of the DJing. Just the scratching, like the record back and forth with the fader on and off, isn't super complex. Where I don't believe, like with the proper training, right? I wish I had proper training when I was younger because I had to learn on the hard way on my own. But if you have somebody that actually knows what they're doing and they can explain it to you, you can easily learn how to scratch. If you scratch, say, like half an hour or 45 minutes a day for maybe 6 months, I guarantee you I would have you doing at least baby scratches, cut-ins, maybe some chirps and stabs and stuff like that. Definitely some fades. You know what I mean? I could definitely make it decent enough, right, for you. It's not, I think the complexity is the proper type of gear. There's a lot of really bogus shitty gear out there, and also it's really expensive hobby. So most people don't have the money just to throw up to try on these things. That's one reason my buddy Jeremy or whatever, I gave him a DJ Jughead. I gave him the opportunity, you know. It's just like, well, come on by, I'll lend you some gear, whatever, right? You seem like a good kid. And I lent him some DVDs. The guy comes back and I'm learning from him, man. And that's kind of, even with like me and Arsenal, when I first started making beats in Acres, you know, like I would make beats and they would be there and we'd bounce ideas off of each other. You know, I learned from them. They learned a little bit from me. It's like they'd be watching me. They're like, well, what did you just do there with that little button over there? What does that do, right? And then I'd be watching them on the computer and like, well, what are you doing here? You're like patternizing everything completely different. Like, I'm always interested in that, right? Because I feel as if I'm missing out on something. Right. And there's like, I've been using this program the whole time and I didn't know you could do that. You know? So that's always why I like being around other artists, man. I feel as if it's one of my passions other than like going to the gym, playing chess. And, you know what I mean? A couple books here and there.
Well, is that part of what attracted you to turntablism? Is that it sort of lends itself to being around other artists, whether it's MCs or other DJs, or
I think it was more because I was like a loner, I guess. I don't know.
so
It's
the
like,
opposite?
yeah, like especially making beats, man. At a certain point, though, you have to spend a lot of time on your own, by yourself, scratching or on your computer producing beats, whether it be on a keyboard or whatever you want to basically play. You're gonna have to put in some time and effort, and a lot of it's by yourself, right? One musician book I read years ago said most of the best performances are ones no one will ever see.
Right.
Which is basically the ones
That's crazy.
The ones that you're always practicing at home in the mirror or whatever, which like even turntablists do, right? You set up a mirror so when you're out on front of the stage, you know what I mean, what you're gonna look like to the crowd, right? Because you have to present it like, yo, I'm the shit, fuck you, blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to know what you're gonna look like ahead of time. And know when there's like a quick gap with like a vocal disc, you actually like shout out to the crowd, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to like you have to project that. So you have to definitely practice. And like I said, some of my best performances were definitely ones done at home. I wish I would have recorded every single one. I probably did like 850, and I know like one or two of them would have been perfect. The last one I did actually, whatever. The very end, the crossfader flew off at the DJ battle live in Toronto, and I feel as if I would have placed third at least at that one if it didn't happen, right? And the guy said to me, he's like, "Well, we got to give it to the guy that like had a perfect routine, right?
Right.
You know, even though your set was probably a little bit more technical, and you probably would have scored more points if the fader didn't fly off,
Right?
But it's just like the luck of the draw, right? I practiced that set I don't know how many times, and then you go there live, man, and you just don't know what's going to happen, right? There can be like some guy in the crowd that just throws you off or something.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, and there goes like thousands of hours of practice.
Well, it's true of anything, man. Like even sports, you know what I mean? Like these guys that they'll hit that shot 1,000 times out of 1,000 at a practice, but then that moment comes in a game, and if you're not the person that can hit it, it doesn't matter how technically skilled you are. You got to be able to do it when it fucking counts.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, stand-up comedy, you could say the same thing. Like anyone could write a great set and deliver it in the mirror. But it's when you're in front of that crowd, if you can't deliver, it doesn't matter what the fuck you wrote down, you know? So I say that with rappers, but to rappers a lot, but it's probably true with anything. Is like what actually is shown out to the world is or should be or is the tip of the iceberg to the work you've done. You know what I mean? Like you've done... like you said, you've probably done, hundreds and hundreds of performances just by yourself at home. And your best have probably been among those if there was an audience there, But it's like, that's not what the world sees. The world's going to see that tip of the iceberg. So, but the better your iceberg is beneath the surface, or the more work you've put in, the better, the more likely fucking...
It's what I always say to someone is like, all these guys are like trying to get their foot in the door, doing this or doing that. But if you don't have the talent to back it up, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll get your foot in the door. A label will actually like listen to you, but they'll be like, your music is shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of doing all this marketing and doing
you gotta have both.
When you have to like have some sort of talent to back it up, or else I don't know, you're gonna like was it Ashley Simpson? Where
it just flops, right?
Yeah, eventually your lack of talent will come out to the world, and a lot of people are like fake it till you make it. But I think that's a stupid way to look at it.
In rap, that happens a lot, right? There's been so many flash in the pan rappers that have gotten super big, and
that's why people are like,
they had a gimmick or whatever. But years later,
and I'm like, well, exactly. Look at that guy.
Yeah,
Where's Millionaire now?
Yeah, exactly. He had that one or two hits, made some money, but that's not a long-lasting artist. The true artists with longevity are the ones that have put in that fucking work, man, and have really been grinding behind the scenes that you haven't seen. The ones that are just out there being flashy, it's like, well, that's all they've got. They don't have much else underneath the surface. I think what's underneath the surface has to be really built on something like great, and then if you're lucky, you'll flash that right tip of the iceberg to the right person at the right time, and shit'll happen. But if you rely on just making that tip of the iceberg look nice and not fucking polishing up what's underneath, that shit's gonna sink, baby.
I guess also kind of comes down to like your end goal, right? Like, do you want to just do Do you just want to make some money and get out? Or do you want to be that guy that people
be
paint
you.
a mural of your face up on a wall like Biggie and Pun? Like, I'm not saying I would ever be that big, but would you not want to try to represent the music and what it means to you and how it's made you feel?
To the highest that you
represent
can.
it in a proper fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless if you want to just make the quick buck, I guess, and
It's
make
a different
banger
hustle.
and get out, then that's all to you, right? Do your thing. But I probably won't be listening to your full CD. We'll probably listen to the one song that was on the radio, and then it might
that
be on
plays at the club or whatever.
Yeah, it might play at the club for a couple months, maybe a year, and then you'll be gone and forgotten, other than like the Billboard Top 500 DJ download for weddings.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, here's what's great is like, you know, somebody like a Tupac makes all this conscious music, lasts forever,
Yes.
long lasting. He's been dead for almost 25 years, and still his music is universal. Yet you still play California Love anywhere, any fucking time, and that shit fucking slaps.
Yeah.
So a real artist making a club banger is still better than just anybody who makes club bangers making a club banger. Because the real artist puts that club banger together, it's gonna be a long-lasting fucking club banger. Look at somebody like DMX. You still play Party Up anywhere in the world at any time, motherfucker. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. DMX is not a fucking radio rapper. Yeah, he's not a fucking mainstream rapper at all. He's underground as can be, style-wise and content-wise. You know what I mean? He doesn't do nothing flashy. But that motherfucker has put in the work. And when it came time to write a club banger and Swizz Beatz gave up the whistles, fucking he knew what to do. You know what I mean? And Tupac knew what to do when that dun 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 dun. The real motherfuckers know what to do when their time comes because they've put in that fucking work. And that's what you need to do. And that's why the two of us are still here in St. Catharines without any success, because we've fucking tried to have integrity. And you know what? It may not have worked for us, but it could work for you, goddamn. It could work for you.
Cheers to that.
You could be fucking Tupac, all right? Or I could be, or ITM could be, you know? Probably not Tupac, but, you know.
No. You know, man, my dream is just kind of like to just make some good music that'll make me happy. Maybe if someone else gets, if it makes them happy as well.
And hey, the odd check in the mail wouldn't hurt.
One of my big dreams, though, is always trying to represent the DMC for Canada in the World Finals, you know. Just so happens the one year that I got second place in Canada was Vex that beat me, the world champion guy that I went on to be like a 7-time champion.
That's what's great, though. It's like, well, you already said you don't like hockey, but it's like if your team loses in the first round and then that team that you lost to goes on to win the Stanley Cup, you don't have to feel so bad about losing the first round. You lost to the fucking champion. You know what I mean?
Same thing with like when I lost his shove, right? I was like, oh, well, I guess he's already a 2-3-time Canadian champion. So
you
I don't
basically
feel so
won.
bad about losing in the second round.
It's still a
right?
personal victory, right?
Yeah, to me, just be able to like jam out or like scratch against him was kind of cool. You know, also because he used to judge my battles, and then I was like battling.
Yeah,
I was surprised he was actually battling in such like a small competition.
That's pretty sweet.
But yeah, he just came out because he's just like, well, fuck, free prizes, right? That's the reason why I just started getting out more and more often, right? It's like the events that hold prizes. Half the time, if there's only 5 guys there, you just have to have better than half the guys there, right? And some of them may be just as new and nervous as you, right? You never know. Like the 2011 when I got to the Canadian finalists, it was because they were just short on guys. And in the elimination round, right, where they do a 1 minute, 1 minute elimination round before like the guys actually go up on stage. So you only do it in front of the judges, but it's to see who fills the last spots. Right, because they kind of want to fill it up and make like a full show. Also, people are paying to come in, so I ended up just jumping in, right? Because I didn't even know about the competition until the last minute. And I was like, yeah. And the guy's like, there's only one other elimination guy. This guy E-Flip from Toronto. He never showed up, so I automatically just got in as the finalist, right?
Bye.
Yeah. So I kind of lucked out, and then you know what I mean. You never know if you're going to be better than other guys. Sometimes I went to battles not thinking I was going to come away from it at all. And I still came out 3rd place, got prizes. You get like new headphones, new control vinyls. You get more stuff to make you a better DJ for next time, right? And you never really know unless you try, right? And yeah, man.
No, I have to add on, like, definitely. And, you know, you're really making me think, because it is something that people should try to get into, because there really is not that much competition, you know? Like you say, it's an expensive hobby. It requires expensive equipment. but everybody is competing in the digital audio space. Like everybody's producing beats on Fruity Loops. Everybody, like, just adding in that one warm analog element will make such a difference and make your shit stand out so much more than in this kind of cold digital age that we're in with music.
Yeah.
Just having that warm analog element, I think, is what is really missing from the older school hip hop. Is kind of that warmth. Right now, everything is very like electronic and
very
cold
digital,
and digital, right? But that is also so accessible, and that's why it's become so big. Is because anybody can illegally download Fruity Loops and do it, right?
That's where no one's like learning how to play a keyboard, is because
exactly it's all there. But turntablism is something there's virtual DJ, but you can't really mimic the art of scratching on a fucking screen, right? So it's like, but people I've seen
Luke actually on like the editing software with with Pro Tools. I've actually seen him do like make a sound and then like reverse it and back it with like this pitch thing or whatever. And he mimics some like basic but just like a baby scratcher, kind of like a flare, right? Just by chopping the sample in and out and stuff like that. He can kind of do it, but that's the closest thing I've ever seen to anyone.
It's not the same.
Making like a scratch on a computer, right?
It's analog, man. It's an analog.
It's an instrument. It's an instrument, right? I know a lot of instruments you can mimic, but like vocals. Think of it this way: you can't mimic vocals on a computer with anything other than your vocals. Your vocals are a musical instrument, right?
The best musical instrument.
Yeah, man. This is the best way to get a message out. That's for sure.
But it's just an interesting thing to think about. Like any young producers out there who are feeling threatened by the fact that there's a million other producers making beats on Fruity Loops. Think about doing some fucking scratching, some turntablism, some of these sort of lost arts in hip hop that are kind of dying off. Resurrect them, man. Bring them back, because it brings a whole other feel to the experience, And I think that's really something to think about. And then, hey, this guy's willing to teach you. He's willing to help you.
I got the gear. Come on by, we'll jam out, man. I'm always up for a scratch.
So, part of my mission is to, even if I am not successful, if I can inspire others to try, then I feel I've succeeded in that way, whether it be rapping or podcasting, whatever. This is why I like to have people on the show who may also inspire people to try out their art form. There's no reason why not to try out scratching, man. Let somebody lend some equipment, lend out some equipment, whatever, and just get to scratching, man, and just create another element to the music. So
and I could always guide you in the right direction if you need like advice for gear and stuff like that, right? You just have to watch out, because if you're buying gear, there's a lot of bogus crap. Like if you want to learn how to scratch and that's like what you want to do, there's a lot of bogus gear out there that it will not give you the real feel of scratching. Right. So it's like some of these little controllers and stuff people have, like I have some of them, right? You don't get the real feel of scratching. You can do some of the scratches like tears and flares and stuff like that, but like just does not feel the same. And it's not a very good way if you want to learn how to scratch to get into it, if you know what I'm saying. You can't have like a toy guitar and think you're gonna get your scratches to sound out like good, right?
Like shredding,
you need a professional like Fender guitar, you know what I mean? Like and that's kind of like what deterred me the first couple of years, right? Is like I had to learn the hard way. But if anybody ever needs any advice, I'm always up to I'm sure our K-Flip, he's always very helpful as well. Yeah,
shouts out K-Flip as well. He's two excellent guys, man. So holler at them. We're going to make this art form continue. We don't want to see any art forms dying off. So go listen to Ill Prepared. Where can the people find Ill Prepared?
Ill Prepared, we have it on Spotify. It's also on Bandcamp if you'd like to donate any money. Should be on YouTube Music and all the other platforms. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't really put it up on SoundCloud and stuff like that. I kind of just started going with the Spotify.
Yeah, me too. I stopped with SoundCloud. It's a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah, it just made more sense, right? Just to focus on one or two, because there's so many different platforms. And at least with like the distributors now, they focus all the other ones, so I don't have to worry about uploading it to 5 different things.
And then they collect the money for you, as little as it is. It's something, right? And you don't got to worry about shit. So look up Ill Prepared by Ill Table Manners. I'm on 2 songs on there. Triceratops, Tricycle, and Autumn. But listen to the whole damn thing because it's soul-enriching fire. And then look out for our music video, which should probably be coming out, I don't know, within the month, maybe. I don't know. Shouts out Skursky Productions. So maybe even sooner. You never know. But just stay on the lookout. And yeah, you got anything else you want to say to the people before we sign off?
Just peace, love, unity, having fun. Those are the lyrics of KRS-One.
Rule number 1480: record company executives are shady.
Yes. The teacher. Respect.
About to take a plane to another plane, to another plane, to another plane, bumping Baka not nice while I'm trapping in the rain.